वेलकम बैक दोस्तों, एक बार फिर से मैं आपका मेजबान मनी आप सबका इस्तकबाल करता हूं मॉर्निंग्स विद मनी में। और इस सेगमेंट में, जैसे कि मैंने आज की शो की इब्तिदा में आप लोगों को बताया था, हम बात करेंगे पूजा प्रसन्ना साहिबा से, जो कि जानी मानी सहाफ़ी हैं और एडिटोरियल हेड है रिपोर्टिंग की द न्यूज़ मिनट में। आपने हाल में एक तफ्तीश की जिसका नतीजा ये हुआ कि आपने पाया कि नरेंद्र मोदी सरकार शायद गुजरात को तरजीह दे रही है। जितने भी इन्वेस्टमेंट्स होते हैं वो गुजरात चले जाते हैं। बाकी स्टेट्स में अगर कंपनीज इन्वेस्ट भी करना चाह रहे होते हैं, फॉरेन कंपनीज, उनको इंसेंटिव दिया जाता है गुजरात में जाने का। क्या है ये, थोड़ा डिटेल में बताने के लिए हमारे साथ फोन लाइन पर हिंदुस्तान से आप जुड़ गई हैं। आइए इनको खुशामदीद कहते हैं। गुड इवनिंग पूजा, बहुत शुक्रिया आपने ज्वाइन किया। वेलकम टू द प्रोग्राम।
प्लेजर।
ये बताइए कि एक तो ये मतलब आई अंडरस्टैंड दैट आप दोनों मिक्स करके हम बोल सकते हैं अंग्रेजी में
और हिंदी में। कमजोर है तो मैं इंग्लिश में बात करना चाहूंगी।
जरूर, कोई बात नहीं। we are very thankful that you could make time for this. Your video report has been doing the rounds now, and even at our network our colleagues have seen that. And you hinted at that कि मतलब एक कुछ बड़ा आ रहा है, so that really got us curious. So फिर जब report आया, it was something which many people have suspected, but you now have evidence. You have demonstrated that this is how it has happened. So it is not India first; it is Gujarat first for the Narendra Modi government. If I make that claim, am I exaggerating?
Not from what I have found out, because like you said, पिछले 4, 5, 6, 7 सालों से we've heard this, especially from the southern states, right? I'm based in Bangalore, which is in the southern part of the country, और यहाँ पे हमने काफी सालों से we've seen an IT boom, right? Investments have come here in large numbers. Hyderabad, Bangalore, Chennai, Mumbai, of course, which is the financial hub of the country. पर आप अगर FDI numbers भी देखोगे तो Gujarat has been soaring over the last few years. And when I spoke to ministers, company insiders on what is happening, is this an organic growth of a state or is there something more to it? I constantly heard people complaining that listen, we are being arm twisted into going to Gujarat, either through incentives. If incentives don't work, then we are openly intimidated. Intimidating them?
Yes. Intimidated as well. Okay.
And I use this term very responsibly, right? Because it's a big claim we are making now.
Right.
So it took me 9 months to kind of verify this from multiple sources, and then finally here it is.
Wow. One thing really struck me during your report कि आपने कहा कि foreign companies were told that enemy states में आप ना जाएं, आप गुजरात में चले जाएं. And enemy states से आपकी उनकी मुराद थी not India's or countries that are seen as enemy or understood to be enemy by India, but states where non-BJP governments exist. Who are these people who made that claim? Yeah.
So the interesting part is this, Mani. So after COVID, many companies, American companies particularly, wanted to pull out of China, right? They wanted to take the investments elsewhere. And they looked at Vietnam, they looked at India as possible options. So, companies that are looking at India are being told, don't go to enemy states. And they are referring to opposition-ruled states in India. States like, say, Karnataka, which is currently governed by Congress, or the DMK-governed Tamil Nadu, the neighboring states, right? So, who's saying this? These are members of the government, the union government. These are bureaucrats, some ministers even have made this very, very clear to investors.
Wow. And one would assume that the term enemy state would be used very responsibly, and that too against foreign actors. But in this case, non-BJP governments within the country have been referred to as enemy states. That perhaps indicates a mindset, and many southern states have been complaining. In fact, non-BJP states like Bengal have also been complaining. We also saw a couple of years back when the Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Kerala chief ministers, they sat on protests saying that we haven't got our GST revenue and many other dues that are we are entitled to. So this has been building for a while, and you have demonstrated that मतलब यहाँ पे actively encourage किया जा रहा है. Even in meetings, you have said, in government meetings, ministers have openly made sales pitches for Gujarat. How surprised are you? And do you see any precedent in India's, let's say, in the last 20, 30 years of independent India's history?
So the thing is, it is natural that there will be a slight tilt. Let's be honest. I'll give you one example. When Deve Gowda was the prime minister, this is in '96 for 10 months, short period, right? He was from the state that I hail from, which is Karnataka. There was a little bit of tilt. Maybe highway projects ज़्यादा दे देंगे, grant कर देंगे. उतना तक, we have seen it. But यहाँ हमने जो देखा है, it is much more than that. यहाँ पे clearly, openly बोला जा रहा है कि गुजरात ही जाना पड़ेगा आपको. कोई दूसरा ऑप्शन नहीं. अगर आप किसी भी वजह से गुजरात नहीं जाना चाहते हो, सेकंड ऑप्शन है यूपी. अभी प्रॉब्लम ये है सेमीकंडक्टर मैन्युफैक्चरिंग. सेमीकंडक्टर जो इकोसिस्टम बनाया है वो सदर्न स्टेट्स में है. Because you need a large, electronics manufacturing ecosystem to support semiconductor manufacturing. Right? You find that in Telangana, where Hyderabad is there. It's there in Tamil Nadu, in Karnataka, and partially also in Maharashtra. Now, investors find it difficult, despite all the incentives that they're giving, to go to Uttar Pradesh, which doesn't have this ecosystem.
Right.
पर बोला जा रहा है ये आपके ऑप्शंस हैं. अगर यहाँ पे आप इन्वेस्ट नहीं करेंगे तो हम जो कैपिटल सब्सिडी देंगे वो आपको नहीं मिलेंगे. इससे ज्यादा ये भी बोला जा रहा है कि जो क्लियरेंस मिलना चाहिए आपको वो शायद हम नहीं देंगे.
Wow. And even a state like Assam, जहाँ पे मतलब सालों से कंप्लेंट्स थे कि भाई यहाँ पे कोई कंपनीज आते नहीं, फैक्ट्रीज बनते नहीं हैं, लेकिन जिन कंपनीज का और जिन इंडस्ट्रीज का कोई मतलब एक्सपीरियंस नहीं है, देयर इज नो हिस्ट्री, वो मैन्युफैक्चरिंग इन यूनिट्स वहाँ पे लगाए जा रहे हैं. सो यू आर सेइंग दैट दे आर ऑल्सो, मतलब इफ गुजरात इज नॉट गेटिंग इट, then the next in the pecking order are the states that are ruled by the BJP, states like UP and Assam. So non-BJP states have absolutely no chance. They don't even exist in that hierarchy.
So this is something I learned by talking to a few bureaucrats from Telangana, and then I correlated this with Maharashtra and Union government as well. So a few years ago, a couple of companies which had almost signed an MOU with the Telangana government, suddenly, without much of a explanation, left to go to Gujarat. So there was an official letter written seeking why this is happening to the Union government, and the reply came that, much like what's happening in Taiwan, जहाँ पे एक क्लस्टर बनाया है सेमीकंडक्टर मैन्युफैक्चरिंग के लिए, वैसे ही हम इंडिया में भी बनाना चाहते हैं और हमने गुजरात चुना है इस काम के लिए. अभी गुजरात क्यों सेलेक्ट किया, इट इज अ लिटिल बिजार, बिकॉज वहाँ पे कोई ऑलरेडी एग्जिस्टिंग इकोसिस्टम नहीं था, जैसे मैंने समझाया अभी. तो बोला कि यहाँ पे जब सैचुरेशन हो जाएगा, देन वी स्टार्ट लुकिंग एट अदर स्टेट्स. Now the saturation has happened because there are 4 big companies already in Gujarat. Now, technically, the next in line should have been the other states that missed out on these companies. But no, they look at Uttar Pradesh, they look at Assam. So clearly, BJP-ruled states are being benefited largely. The ones that are voted for the opposition are missing out.
You also mentioned ये जो एयरक्राफ्ट बनाने का जो एक जेवी हुआ है, वो भी गुजरात में लेके जाया गया और उनको ये कहा गया कि अगर वहाँ पर नहीं जाएंगे तो क्लाइंट जो है आपसे खरीदेगा नहीं. और मतलब that was the drift of that message, and the client being मतलब India's armed forces. So even in that case, it's being dictated कि armed forces भी आपका सामान नहीं लेंगे if you don't make them in Gujarat. Did I get that right?
Yes, absolutely. You summarized it quite well. And, it puts the company in a fix, right? Because you have technically one buyer. And if that buyer says, we will not buy from you unless you go to a certain state, then आपका market नहीं रहेगा फिर. किसको बेचेंगे आप? So, which is why Tata Airbus, which had almost finalized for Maharashtra, in fact, it was supposed to come up in Nagpur. Last minute, it went to Gujarat. And in fact, I think just last week, Prime Minister Modi had a huge road show, and then he kind of made a big show about how Gujarat is where all the investment is coming from. Look, I just want to make one thing clear to your listeners as well. We don't have an issue with the development of Gujarat, right? I mean, all states have to develop. दिक्कत ये है कि जब union government, which is supposed to be a neutral party in this, and just a facilitator, right, at the end of the day, when FDI comes to India, they come and tell you that we want to invest in the state, and we've had meetings with representatives. All they are supposed to do is facilitate that, not nudge or arm twist or threaten them into not investing there and going somewhere. And they've even lost business because of such things.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, it is strange because states have always had issues with the union government in the past as well. And then some states would think that we are not getting investments. There has been stepmotherly, quote unquote, treatment towards us. And this has been a hallmark of independent India's politics. But this time it is happening for real. This time the state interests of just one state and the state from which the Prime Minister and the Union Home Minister come from, that is being given preference over every other state. And if it is not going to Gujarat, then it will go to another BJP-ruled state. I don't remember seeing any precedent of this sort of a thing where the union government is actually playing for one state. Pooja, what's the way forward, do you think? How are states responding to this? I mean, we have seen complaints by different chief ministers. Maharashtra, when the Mahavikas Aghadi government was in power, they were also complaining that, that you're trying to take business industry out of Maharashtra, which is a heavily industrialized state. And immediately after the Mahayuti government took power, you did see an example where a company actually went to Gujarat. And so how are states are responding to this, except for whining about it? Is there any way for them to challenge the union government on this, or they are just helpless?
So, this does put state governments also in a bit of a fix, right? Because at the end of the day, they still have to deal with the union government because they have the discretion to kind of make things more difficult for them than what they already are. Which is why आपने अगर देखा है तो मैं on record किसी को quote नहीं कर पाई, including ministers from the opposition government, because they feel that there will be a witch hunt after that if they do come out and kind of out what's happening. So after my story came, in fact, it has been picked up by the Congress, which is campaigning against BJP in Maharashtra. This is something that they're speaking about in their election campaign as well. But also on a more unofficial level for a long time, they have been kind of petitioning the union government to help them get investments. But they have not been able to go for an open confrontation. Interviews में इसके बारे में बात किया है. But beyond that, they're not being able to take this forward. But I'm hoping things will change.
Narendra Modi was being mocked as, in fact, and ridiculed as Gujarat ke Prime Minister. Now, you do see some ground. मतलब वहाँ पर मतलब they are not making these hollow claims. They did have some substance behind that. Pooja Prasanna, thank you so much. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't want to cut you. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I was just saying that, it's not a matter of sentiment. It's a matter of economics. It's a matter of development. So I think that is where we need to focus.
Okay. Pooja Prasanna, thank you so much for giving us your time. It was lovely speaking with you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.